Nicole speaking, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Nicole's Weekly Words. Can you believe we've already reached episode number 6? Time flies when you're having fun, as they say, and I really do hope that you have been enjoying this new way of learning vocabulary, and more importantly, that it has reminded you of the importance of practicing and learning a little bit of vocabulary every day. So thanks for joining me once again. I really appreciate it. Today I've chosen 5 great new words. If you feel that you already know them, please do still stick around, because for each word I'm giving you 2 or 3 different meanings and 2 or 3 or even 4 sometimes different ways of using this word for different situations. So do stick around even if you think that you know the word, because I guarantee you're going to learn something new. And yeah, I want you to try and use these words this week. Before we start, very quickly, share this post with your friends, with your family, with your followers, I suppose, on Facebook, so that they can benefit from learning vocabulary this week too. I'd really appreciate it if you could just click on the share button down here, or after you've watched the video, to tell your family and friends about it then. The more the merrier. I'm here to help as many people as I can. And the bonus for you is that it's free. So, are you ready to start learning? The 5 words that I've chosen for this week are all phrasal verbs which use the preposition off. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Well, the very first one for this week, for episode 6, is the phrasal verb pull off. Pull off. Have you heard of that before? Do you think you can use it? Well, I have got quite a few different meanings here and different uses for it, so listen carefully. I'm going to explain each of them and give you a few example sentences. And at the end of today's session, please do visit the Facebook group to download today's worksheet so that you can take your own notes, read the example sentences, and write your own. Let's go. So the first meaning of pull off, or to pull something off, you could even say, is really to succeed in doing something that is very difficult. So, there might be a very difficult task, or maybe a goal that is so out of reach, it's really difficult to achieve, really difficult to get there to that end goal. However, if you pull it off, it means that you're successful, that you do it, that you achieve it, and it's an incredible outcome, maybe a surprising outcome, because you yourself and other people might have never believed that it would be possible, that it would be achievable. So that's what happens if you say pull off. Let me give you some examples. The team pulled off a surprise victory. That simply means that, most people did not believe it was possible for the team to win. And they pulled off a surprise victory simply means they did it. Everyone is so surprised and obviously happy with that incredible outcome, that incredible result. Another example sentence, it will be an incredible achievement if they can pull it off. Wow. So it will be an incredible achievement if they can pull it off. Again there, that sentence is saying, I don't believe they can do it, but if they can, wow, that will be so incredible. Another quick example sentence is, despite several setbacks and no financial support, they kept working hard and stayed focused, and they managed to pull it off. So, you could say something like that for a business, perhaps. Someone who wants to start a new business and they might not have enough money to do so properly, and people believe that it won't be successful. But in the end, beyond all the negative thoughts and expectations and all the difficulties that come their way, they did it. They were successful. They achieved that end result and it became a successful business. So there you go. Number one meaning for pull off is if you succeed in doing something that is very difficult, that you believe yourself and others believe is not possible. Okay, another meaning for pull off is if you pull off a road. So here we're talking about a vehicle, a car, a truck, a van, anything with four wheels or a bike, even a motorbike. So any vehicle or person driving that vehicle, if they are on a road and then they turn off the road and park on the side of the road. They're driving along and then they go to the side and stop that car or that vehicle. That means to pull off or to pull off a road. So you might say something like, please pull off if you're feeling sleepy. It is way too dangerous to drive for 10 hours straight. Or you might say something like, they pulled off the road to take a photo when they saw the most beautiful field of flowers. Look, you could also use pull off, this expression, not just when you're pulling off a road to stop and to park on the side of that road, but also when you're pulling off, when you're leaving a main road and going to a smaller road, like a small country road or a side street or something like that. So you might be on the main highway and then you pull off to a smaller country road or a side road or a little laneway or something. So you might say something like, we pulled off the highway to look for a place to eat. So the second meaning of pull off is on the main road, turn to the side, park and stop on the side, or alternatively, you're on the main road and you go off onto a smaller road. The third meaning of pull off, there are so many. The third meaning of pull off is simply to take information from one computer to another computer. So what you're doing is you're actually extracting that information. You're taking away that data or copying that data, I suppose, and moving it to somewhere else. So you might say something like, you can pull the, let me say that again. You can pull off the files that you need from the online database. Or even better, you can pull the files you need off the online database. So you can pull off something or you can pull something off. Both of those situations, those expressions work there with the off straight away or the off at the end. So the third meaning there of pull off is to take data or information from one computer or one server and to move it to another. Obviously, not all of us would say that all the time if we're not so technical, but it's good to know. Then we have a fourth meaning for pull off. Unbelievable. And this is when you take your clothes off really, really, really quickly. So maybe your clothes are wet or smelly or dirty, or there's been an accident, like you've spilt something on it or someone's vomited on it. So what you do there is you take them off really quickly because you want to change. You don't want those smelly, dirty clothes. So an example there might be something like, she pulled off her jumper after her baby had vomited all over it. That's a funny one. Or another example might be, she pulled off her shoes and socks after a long day on her feet. So quickly take them off. Excellent. Can you believe there's another meaning of pull off? Oh, so many here. Maybe I should have chosen a different word. We've already got 5 meanings just for one word. So the last meaning that we're looking at there for pull off is when they stop selling something in the store, when they stop selling in a supermarket or a shop a particular item. So they might stop selling it officially because there have been complaints, or because it's too old, or because it's dangerous for some reason. So they remove that particular item and don't stock it in their shop or their supermarket anymore because of this bad publicity, or this pressure, I suppose, or this negative feedback. So you might say something like, our favorite brand of milk was pulled off the supermarket shelves overnight after the company owners had received several complaints from the public about the quality of the milk. Unbelievable. So they pulled the milk off the shelves in that situation, and you can't buy it anymore. Excellent. Well, that's word number 1. 5 meanings, but 5 great ways to use it. And obviously now, hopefully you'll understand it every time you hear that. Let's have a look at word number 2. The second word I've chosen for this week is cut off. Again, I have several meanings of this. I apologize. It's going to be a long lesson today. So, cut off basically means, the first meaning, means that you make a place difficult or maybe impossible to enter or even to leave. So this particular place, it's not possible to go in or to go out. And the reason for that is usually because of a natural disaster. So there might be a flood or a bushfire, or maybe even an accident, like there's been an explosion or something. So for those reasons, that particular place is unable to be accessed, or unable to be to escape from, I suppose. So I might say something like, our house was completely cut off from the rest of the town in the floods. Or the floods completely cut off our suburb and we couldn't go anywhere. So there you go. Same with the bushfires in Australia. You might say something like, the small town was cut off from surrounding towns and cities because the bushfire had surrounded it. Horrible. So there you go, cut off. The second meaning of cut off is really when a person feels, I suppose, isolated from other people. They have no contact with other people or no support from other people because of a particular event that has happened. So most likely because a lot of the time women feel cut off from their friends, perhaps when they have a baby, or you know, you as a teenager maybe might feel cut off from your parents or your family when you move out for the first time, because you have no contact or support from them as much as you're used to, I suppose. So an example might be, she felt completely cut off from her friends after having a baby. Or moving to Sydney was really difficult because I felt really cut off from my family and friends back home. There you go. So another meaning, the third meaning of cut off, is to cut someone off. So you put the person there between the cut and the preposition off, to cut someone off. And that simply means that you stop them from continuing their conversation. In other words, you interrupt them, you know, they can't say what they are saying or wanting to say, or they can't continue saying what they want to say because you interrupt them. You cut that conversation and they can't continue talking. So you might say something like, "Stop cutting me off. I'm trying to say something important here." Or, "It's impossible to speak with her. She is always cutting me off and it really annoys me." There you go, some examples there. So cut off there is not a very nice thing to do. It's quite rude when you interrupt someone, isn't it? The fourth meaning of cut off is when you're on a phone call, okay, and there's some technical issue, I suppose, and then that phone call stops working, that phone call doesn't continue. So suddenly, it's the end of that phone call. So you might say something like, "Mum and I got cut off in the middle of our call and I'm having big difficulties ringing her back." Or, what else could we say? Maybe, "We were having such a lovely conversation, but the storm cut us off." So in that situation, the conversation ends. The phone conversation is finished because of a technical issue. Then we've got a fifth meaning for cut off. Believe it or not, there's a lot of meanings. That's why English is so difficult, you know. One word or one expression with 20 different meanings. But here we've got 5. So the fifth meaning here for cut off is when you stop having a really close relationship with someone, when you stop having a really friendly relationship with someone, you know, when a family member or a friend and you are no longer close. You stop that relationship, you stop that friendship, maybe because you've had a fight, maybe because you don't like something that they have said or something that they have done perhaps, maybe because you've had a disagreement there, or maybe because they've betrayed you or hurt you and you just don't want to continue that relationship or that friendship. So in that situation, you cut them off, you cut someone off. An example might be, all of John's friends have cut him off and he doesn't understand why. Or her father cut her off after she stole money from him and now he isn't speaking with her anymore. So there's some examples there. Whew, cut off is done. Let's move on to word number 3 for today, for episode number 6, and that is kick off. Okay, so again, quite a few meanings here. The first meaning is in the area of sport. Most often when you're talking about football or soccer or sport where you're kicking something, kicking a ball, obviously. So for soccer or football, when the game or the match begins when someone kicks that ball for the first time. So kick off in that situation of sport by kicking the ball for the first time simply means that the game, the match officially begins. So you might say the World Cup will kick off on Sunday the 21st at 6 p.m. So again there it means it will officially start when that first ball is kicked. Or when will the game kick off? something like that. The second meaning, without the meaning of sport there, just in general, for any topic, is the meaning of begin or start. So kick off there simply means begin or start or commence, if you'd like. So you might say, the political campaign kicked off last week, or online marketing really kicked off a decade ago. So there's some examples there. Or another one, you might say something like, the show kicks off on Monday. There we're talking about maybe a TV show or something, and it will start on Monday. Okay, third meaning. There's only 3 meanings for this one. Yeah. This one means to kick off shoes in this situation. So in that situation, you're getting your feet and you're sort of shaking them like this so that your shoes come off or fly off by themselves without you having to actually take them off or pull them off. So you could say something like, Sarah kicked off her high heels as soon as she walked in the door. Or, I always kick off my slippers before I get into bed. So in that situation, you're kicking off the shoes, the items on your feet, whether they're sandals, joggers, thongs, slippers, it doesn't really matter, gumboots, the action of moving or shaking your feet like this so that they fly off by themselves, that is kick off. Excellent. Whew, we're doing well. Okay, now we're moving on to word number 4 for today. And word number 4 is tell off. Have you heard this before? Maybe from your parents. Why did I say that? Well, if you tell someone off, so you've always got the off at the end and the person in between. So tell person off in that situation. It means that you are criticizing someone for doing something wrong. You know, you are speaking really strictly at them like a parent, or you're a little bit angry at them and telling them that, or you're putting them back in line because they've done something terribly bad, I suppose. So really you're telling them about their bad behavior and that they should not continue that. You're speaking really seriously with them because of an action they've done wrong, something that they shouldn't have done. So you're telling someone off. In that situation, an example might be, the teacher told me off for talking in the middle of the presentation. Or, his father told him off for not listening. Yeah. Or, let me know if he keeps teasing you and I'm happy to tell him off. So there's a few examples there to tell someone off. Whew, we have reached the 5th and final word for this week, and it is write off. So if you write something off, again, there's quite a few meanings, but we'll focus on the first one. And we're talking here about a vehicle. It could be a car, a truck, a motorbike, whatever, but a vehicle. And it means that this vehicle is damaged so badly that it's not worth fixing it or repairing it, or it can't be repaired. That's how badly damaged it is. So maybe there was a car accident or something went wrong and you just can't fix it, or you don't want to spend the money to fix it. So you might say something like, this car was written off after the accident. There it means kaput. Can't be used anymore, can't be fixed. It's not worth it. Or another one you might say is, we had to write off my BMW. It was cheaper to get a new one than to get it repaired. Can you believe it? Must have been a bad accident. Next, the next meaning of write off is when you're talking about tax. So if you've got a business, okay, and you reduce the tax that you're paying in that business for a large item that you've bought, for something you've spent a lot of money on, and you're reducing the tax paid on that item by declaring it over several years, not just 1 year for the full amount, but maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years and a little amount each year. And you take into account the depreciation of that item and the fact that it reduces in value over that time. So if you write it off, it means that officially for your tax declaration, you are declaring it over several years. So you might say something like, we will have to write off the purchase of our new delivery van over several years. Okay. Final meaning, are you ready? This one is, if you write something off, or even write someone off, I suppose, it means that you decide or you come to the conclusion that someone or even something will not succeed, or someone or something will never change. So for that reason, you stop giving them your attention. You stop focusing on them and giving them your energy, I suppose, because you believe it's not worth it. You believe that they won't change, they won't succeed. For example, it's easier with an example sentence. I think we all have to write off 2020 because it's been the strangest year. Can you see there? In that situation, we're saying, forget about it. Don't put any more energy into something, into this year, because it won't change, it won't get better. And sadly, that's probably true. You might also say, his mum had written off his business idea, but he proved her wrong. Wonderful. So there you go. There are 5 expressions for this week. So many alternative meanings for them. We've got pull off, cut off, kick off, tell off, and write off. I do hope that there's a few new ones there for you, or at least that some of the alternative meanings are new to you and that you've learnt something new. And I do hope you're motivated to go and practice them this week by yourself. So that's your job, your homework this week, is to practice these great words, these great expressions. Maybe focus on one every day, or try a few every day, especially if there's more than one meaning. So give it a go. I want you to practice as much as possible, not just speaking, but also writing. So having said that, what you can do is go and visit my Facebook group, The Successful English Learner by Sydney English Teacher, and you can go and download today's worksheet, the worksheet from episode 6 of Nicole's Weekly Words. And there you will find all of the words written down, all of the meanings written down, nicely, simply explained, and lots of example sentences, and room for you to take your own notes and to write your own sentences. So, that was a long session. We've gone nearly half an hour. I apologize, but at the same time, I thank you so much for joining me, for sticking with me, and for being committed to learning and improving your vocabulary. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again next week for episode number 7. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.